In those days, when you got an oil well, you just let it blow out, and then you'd run like heck.
Spindletop in 1901 and then East Texas in 1929 changed everything.
No one had ever seen anything like that.
It was very much a wildcat era to start with. There was a lot of luck involved. There was a lot of trial and error involved.
There was no engineering involved, just praying. A large amount of oil was wasted all over the world.
When you just let it flow, you often only get 10% of the oil or 20% of the oil, and you leave the rest behind.
Where does the oil exist, and how do I locate it better? The engineering side came about to solve those type of problems.
In 1930, the Department of Petroleum Engineering was created at the University of Texas.
I think the school started up because there was a terrible need for engineering of petroleum and how to produce it safely and more effectively.
Our history, meaning of course UT Austin, is very much intertwined, very closely related to the history of oil production in Texas. You almost can't separate them. Students have done everything from become CEOs of companies to become world-class researchers to forming their own companies. My first year at the University of Texas was HELL. It scared me to death. These guys were so smart. At that time, this was World War II. You had to agree to go constantly, no summer vacation, nothing. Just constantly for 3 years to get your degree. And the minute you finish, you had to hustle overseas, which I did.
During wartime, academic environments were critical.
People stepped up to the plate. They ramped it up when they needed to, and they did it in an amazingly short period of time.
East Texas oil, without much exaggeration, was the source that won World War II for the Allies.
Since the war, the changes in petroleum engineering have been unbelievable due to innovation and techniques that were developed, a lot of them here at the university.
We've had professors that were famous in something called enhanced oil recovery, which was recovering the last little bit of oil out of a reservoir. The diversity of skills and technologies required to do that is enormous.
What we find today is the industry is much more technically focused than it was maybe 40 or 50 years ago. And UT is equipping the students really, I think, for the future needs of our industry.
So they do have tornado warnings out there.
Is it common to have tornadoes up there?
It does happen.
My dad and I both went to the University of Texas, graduated with petroleum engineering degrees. We had some of the same textbooks, even though mine were 2 or 3 editions later.
It's a tired old oil field. 65 years old this year. It's produced 300 or 400 million barrels. We put at risk millions and millions of dollars every day to find oil and gas. Not knowing if we'll find it, not knowing what we'll be paid for it if we do find it.
With the weather last night, we did lose both facilities. I'm not exactly sure the full extent of the damages.
Conventional oil, the easy oil, may be getting close to its peak. Our challenge then is, how are we going to sustain such large volumes of energy production? We have all these wonderful students that are young and creative, and we teach them, and we also do research with them, and they go out and change the world.
Today, we're short on engineers, petroleum engineers especially, all over the world. And so today, the University of Texas is simply needed so badly.
The wildcatter today is a different type of person in the tools that they have. I don't think the personality is any different because these are still people that are willing to take extraordinary risks, and they always think they're going to succeed.
You know, one of the things that's really exciting for us and nerve-wracking for us is finding out, were we correct or not? Is the oil there that we thought was there?
It is slightly different, obviously, now. We have a little bit more information before we go off and start sticking holes in the ground. But at the end of the day, you never know, no matter what anybody says, you never know until you actually stick a hole in the ground.